Man, that was a tough episode to get through. This episode wrecked me so much. I think like at 3 different points it really did gut punch me. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Aquatope on White Sand episode 11. So let's jump into it. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting more emotional than I usually am. But yeah, like I said, this episode on 3 occasions was yanking some tears out of me. But essentially a lot of this episode focusing around Kukuru giving up. And that kind of goes into my theory that I kind of was expecting for this series. That I was thinking at some point what they were going to end up doing is having the actual Gama Gama go under and then have to have Kukuru rebuild. Because my other side of my theory was that grandfather was trying to push her to essentially fix the place and then he would allow her to have it. Like he was essentially being a puppet master in the background. Not necessarily that he actually wanted to close it, but the beginning of this episode pretty much blows away every theory that I had and focuses strictly on the rebuild factor. Because it opens up with the grandfather clearly stating, finally, I had a friend that helped me build the place, and I made the promise to him that when it could not sustain itself, when it got too old, I would close it. And it has gotten to that point. It has gotten to the point where the place is too old. It can't sustain itself, and it's, as they kind of point out in the episode a lot, it's dangerous for the animals, and so he's going to shut it down. So, again, he could have been aligning there again, but it pretty much seems like it at that point was confirming, no, this was a promise he made, that this is going to get shut down. So, in response to this, Kukuru ends up pretty much locking herself inside of the aquarium and locking everybody out, and making a final stand. And yeah, it didn't turn out too well with her because it just so happens that same day a typhoon decides to hit the area, and so it makes it a little more difficult than usual. Thankfully for that, there was no customers coming there to see a bunch of, stuff boarding up the windows and stuff. But yeah, she's staying in there, she's still taking care of things, and at the same time Fuka decides, I can't let her be alone. I'm going to go in there and help her out. So thankfully Grandma's already knows. She's like, I have lunch ready. There you go. Take it to her. She knew that she was going to go. But yeah, she shows up there, and this one, there's a lot of conflict between Fuka and Kukuru here, is because Kukuru is like, no, you go home. You have your dreams now. You said that you came to me and you were going to help me with my dreams, but now you have your own dreams again. You can go back to being an idol. And Fuka's like, no, I want to help you with this now. I want to be here with you. And so eventually, Kukuru has to give up and accept her help. And the two of them kind of start working on things together. But this was really sad because this is the point in the story where it really, I guess, shows Kukuru what the father's talking about. The fact that this place cannot sustain itself, that it is too old, and that it can't be a safe haven for these animals anymore. And that is shown through this typhoon coming through, causing leaks that she said that they apparently fixed the previous year, busting the pipes, the windows being shattered, the power going out, the generators not being able to last that long, all these things that they have to do in order to create safe environments for all these fishes while the power's out. All these things that she herself can't handle, and eventually leads to the point where she's like, you're going to take this last thing from me. I lost my parents, I lost everything, I lost my home, and now you're going to take this last thing from me, which that was point number 1 where I started getting all teary-eyed. It's like, oh, she's finally accepting this, and it hurts to watch. It hurts this point in which she realizes everything around her is falling apart. She's losing this one last thing she had, which again, I thought that was going to be a critical point in the storytelling of Kukuru at some point, realizing that she puts too much on this place. And then she needs to realize that there's more important things than just this one building. She has to reform bonds, friendships, family, and not focus so much of her life around this one object that can be blown away. And yeah, at this point, Fuka is kind of pushing her, look, you have a future still. This isn't it. There's still tomorrow kind of thing. And this is the second part that got me as they're struggling to keep all the fish alive. That's when the grandfather comes in with everybody. The winds are kind of dying down. And yeah, it has this little brief moment where the grandfather's telling everybody what they need to do, directing everybody. And I'm just going, grandfather's here. And I'm getting all emotional again. Like, here we got this moment of, he's there for her. And he's you know, directing everybody to pull everything off. And this was this next sad part was, yeah, once everything kind of settled down and the power came back on and they're kind of re-putting things back in tanks, that's when we have Kukuru finally, I guess, admit defeat. Like, she finally gives up. And that was kind of a sad point because she finally goes to her grandfather and says, look, you're right. Let's shut it down. And it's from a perspective, not that she wants to give up on things. It seems like she's come to an acceptance of the fact that this can't work anymore. And another acceptance in the idea that based on the fact that they could not protect the animals themselves, which she cherishes more than anything else. The animals come before her dreams is really what it's stating, is that even if she wants to keep all this, even if she wants to keep her memories of her parents alive, the only memory she has of her parents is as at that aquarium. The lives of the fish themselves and the safety of the fish is more important than all that. And so seeing that the place is falling apart and that she can't protect the fishes there, she finally tells her grandfather, look, yes, I accept this now. Let's shut it down. And his response is really in the idea of, you did a good job protecting the children up to this point. You did well here. You know, we'll shut it down, essentially. They'll find homes elsewhere that will keep them safe. And yes, here comes the third point in which Andrew gets wrecked as they're leaving, that point in which Kukuru finally turns around and essentially says goodbye. Starts breaking down, and Fuka embraces her. It was rough. This entire episode was very rough to watch. And like I said before, it was technically one of my theories on what the direction they were going to go with this series. And I think it's going to be fantastic. Like, if I can foresee this being a story of Kukuru building an aquarium. And I'm curious if they'll have a time jump. I'm really curious at this point if they will do because I can see PA Works doing that. They've done time jumps in the past. I won't mention technically what shows because that might be technically spoilers for some people. But they have done time jumps, and I really do like time jumps. You rarely ever see animes that have, especially mid-season time jumps. This idea of showing somebody as they grow old, their future, where they go from there. And what I really see in this show right now is having that point in which we go from here, she has given up, the place will be shut down, it gets shut down. Then we have the jump between the core will be Kukuru goes on with her schooling and probably eventually joins the aquarium that's in the center of the town. Fuka goes off to, you know, record this film, and eventually, by the time Fuka comes back, Kukuru will have already started I really do want it to be a thing where not that you know, Fuka comes back and Kukuru has already started Gama Gama again and she's already built it up, but probably like a thing where Fuka eventually comes back to Kukuru and they together decide to make Gama Gama 2 and they build it from the ground up. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a thing where maybe they gut Gama Gama and they rebuild it from the ground up, maybe the success that Fuka gets, maybe she has a little bit of money there. Maybe Kukuru gets like a fundraising thing that builds up over time. I'm really curious of how they'll handle that, but I would really like to see my second theory, which was the idea of let's build it from the ground up. They will never have that feeling that the fish won't be safe because she will have built it from the ground up with new stuff and really bring it to life herself, make her own Gama Gama, make her own memories and that kind of stuff. So it has the makings to do that. And I think this next episode is probably going to be all the signs if that's going to be a thing. And now, granted, the next episode could probably be mostly just them, you know, tearing down Gama Gama and then Fuka leaving. But I do see this being, once we break past that mid-core section, which is typically episode 12 to 13, maybe 13 opens up where they have that little time jump, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But it's got me really excited, especially with how emotional I got this episode. And I really want to see how they turn this around. I mean, I assume that this story is going to be about how they build an aquarium up. I don't see this being a thing of, well, that was it, move on, and we never see Gama Gama ever again. I do see Kukuru rebuilding it, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this episode. If you like this video, please leave a like down below. Comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. And if you can, support us on Patreon. We definitely appreciate everybody that does. And y'all take care.